and welcome to Ustream. If you want to ask me a question, then you can ask me a question through Skype. And my Skype address is LisaCairns12. That's LisaCairns12. And if this is your first time on Ustream, then you can subscribe to Ustream, and then you should get a mail every time I go live. And I go live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. UK time and every Sunday 5 p.m. UK time. Did I say everything there? I forgot what I said. I'm not sure if I told you what my Skype address was. I think I did. I'm becoming like Muttley. I'm like Muttley. Okay. So, if you want to come to one of my events, then the next event I have is next weekend, not this coming weekend. So the next one is Berlin, Germany, which is July 15th to July 17th, and that's weekend talks. So that's 3 days, the Friday night, the Saturday and the Sunday. That's in Berlin. And then I have a retreat in Romania from the 30th to the 6th, but I think that might nearly be fully booked now. I can't remember. I think maybe there's some places left. I'm not sure. I have to ask Amelia. Yes. And that's the 30th to the 6th of August. And then I'm doing a talk in Bucharest, Romania, the 6th of August. Then I'm doing a retreat in southern Spain, the 18th to the 1st of November. And as long as I can get Khaleesi care, it looks like I will be doing talks in Tiruvannamalai in January after popular demand for years now. I did this about 5 or 6 years ago, and people keep asking me to go back. So as long as Khaleesi will be looked after by my parents, so I've sent a message to ask them. So let's hope that this 3 weeks of looking after their dogs has given me good brownie points for Khaleesi. That's all my events for the moment. And also my book now is on Amazon, which was a big request from people to have my book on Amazon. And I've done it as an ebook and a printed book. I wasn't going to do it as a paperback, but it's now both.
You don't need to bark, Jeff.
Khaleesi, stop that! Khaleesi, come here! Come here! Khaleesi! Khaleesi, come here! Khaleesi! Khaleesi! If he wants to go outside, Khaleesi, come here! Khaleesi! 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 Cassidy, go outside if you want to go outside. Hurry up. Go on. On you go, Cass. So I just do an introduction first. I see there's lots of people that want to chat today. It's funny how it goes. Some weeks there's not so many people wanting to chat, and then other weeks there's lots and lots. Funny. Sorry. Awakening isn't about an experience. So everybody wanting to awaken and looking for awakening, and when will I awaken, or when will the me drop away? And it's not about experience. It profoundly affects and changes the human awakening. And there's an energetic shift that happens from being inside to out to being everything. But it's not actually one of those experiences. Awakening is the clearing of the veil that believes that who you are is someone inside this body. And in that removal, then there is an energetic expansion, because who's been experiencing this has never been experiencing from inside the body. It's been the whole entire dream. It created the whole dream. It's hard to put this in words. I'll start, I suppose, from the beginning. So when the baby's born, the baby's going to have come into this life with lots of things from the parents, the genetic makeup of the parents, information from generations, so you could say like past life experiences, but they're not really past life because they don't belong to anyone. But the information in the DNA is going to have memories of other lives, other human lives. So the baby comes into this world with loads of information in the body. And you could say it already comes out a particular way. It has a very strong, unique quality to it, the baby. Hey, beauty. This little face. And so the baby has this very unique quality to it. But that baby's not experiencing. The baby in itself, that information, when the baby's born, doesn't experience. So that information is like it's like a film, you could say, like a book. But unless somebody watches the film, or unless something looks through the baby doesn't inherently experience. So something needs to look through it in order for there to be experienced, like a book needs to be read in order for that information to come alive. The same with the film needs to be watched in order for that film to be experienced. If nobody watches it, then the film is not experienced. The book's a better analogy. But so that baby has all that information. It has all the information of human and probably past lives as well, and comes into this world with so much. But it's nothing. It's just information without something looking through it. It's dead matter. It's a nothing without consciousness, without something being conscious of that. But that consciousness isn't located. It's the most amazing matrix, because the consciousness isn't located from behind the body. It doesn't even really look in through the body, because the consciousness, because this is a reality of one, is actually the appearance of all things, but it's just seemingly looking through the baby at the world. So it's looking through the baby information at the world. But there isn't actually a consciousness, so there's not like a dream and then a consciousness that looks through it and lights up. Actually, the whole entire dream is that consciousness. Just like at night when we sleep, our minds or our imagination makes up the whole dream and is conscious of it simultaneously, even though it looks like it's looking from a particular angle. You look like, when you're in your dream, like you're looking through your body at a world. But actually, you are the whole entire world, that body, and the consciousness, which is everywhere. And you couldn't find a place in which that consciousness wasn't. So just like this, but awakeness or aliveness or knowing isn't actually separate from things. This is where it's non-duality. So the sound of my voice, even though it seems like there's a listening through a body, the sound of my voice is actually the consciousness of it. So it's like you're sitting there watching the computer and you're hearing the sound of my voice, but actually the sound of my voice is your consciousness right now, is what's registering it, and it's not even yours. So it seems like you're sitting on a chair in your lounge, looking at a computer, listening to me speak. But actually, in reality, all there is me speaking. And there isn't anyone that knows it. But yet, it's known, the speaking. The speaking is heard. But what happens inside the body, so what happens inside you, that's you people that are sitting listening to me, is this energy comes in and makes it feel like somebody's looking from behind the eyes and they are in relationship with the outside. But actually, in the actual experience, there isn't a separation from the sound of my voice and the consciousness of it. It's one and the same thing. And consciousness is what stays, or awakeness is what stays, or knowing is what stays. Everything else changes. The whole entire world changes. All things are always in movement and flow, but yet there's always presence, there's always a knowing of this. That is the continuous. That is which never born and never dies. At the moment, though, it's looking through these beautiful, individual, unique bodies. And there seems to be an awakening story happening. So there seems to be people inside these bodies. It's playing out an amazing dream that believe that they're separate from me and believe they're separate from all things and believe that they're sitting listening to me and that they are located inside the body. But actually, my voice, the sight of me, is the way in which you know yourself. It's not that there's somebody inside your body knowing me. My appearance and my voice, the sound of my voice, are the way in which you know me. You know this. You know yourself. Isn't that beautiful? So everywhere you look, everywhere you run, everything you blame and hate is a reflection of you as consciousness, as awakeness. Every memory that appears, every idea of time, everything that appears is that consciousness, and that's who you truly are. I don't mean you as the illusory you that feels like it's inside the body, and I don't mean you as a thing. I mean you as not a thing, and yet simultaneously all things. And this isn't just about the intellectual realization of what I'm saying, or the seeing of what I'm saying, even though that's really profound, and once it's seen, it cannot be forgotten. Once it reveals itself, it cannot be veiled again. It cannot be that is then known, but there's still suffering often after that. And the second part of awakening, or what I call freedom, is when that energy switches from you experiencing life to boundlessness experiencing life. And the you appearing and disappearing in this. So the you becomes an experience, the appearance of the separate person becomes an experience rather than the experiencer. The experiencer is not a thing and all things. And I use words like consciousness or knowing, and in a way, they're only pointers. I mean, everything I say is only pointers. It's not like they're the truth. Who you truly are is everything and not a thing. And that's not something that's describable. Consciousness is slightly describable, something that you can intellectually get a little bit. It's a total mystery as to what's creating all this. Consciousness, we kind of like, you tend to have a bit of a position on what that is. It's a bit of a god in non-duality. So I tend to stay away from the word consciousness, but sometimes it's easier just to use it. And I like to always swap what I'm saying and swap the words up, because it's not about the words. Words come and go. And it's not about what I say. What I say comes and goes. And I'm always contradicting myself. I say one thing, then another thing. I like something, then I don't like something. Words are just words. What I'm talking about is this, is boundlessness. What I'm talking about is not something you can know, but yet it's the experience of all things. And it's home. With all the crazy dance that happen in this matrix, it's absolute home. The movement from this to that, to this to that. Love, growth, destruction, joy, happiness, sadness, grief, death. All this never-ending circle of things. This is home, because this is the creator that isn't separate from all things and is not one particular thing. I'm not talking about some dead awareness watching this, or the watcher watching this. This is that watcher, that one that feels like it's behind, going back into all things, and then the person appears and disappears as an experience. So if anyone has any questions, we can talk about things to make things better for the person that believes it's separate. When it feels like it's caged, it's always looking to feel better. And I'm happy to talk with you about ways to make you feel better. And then I'm also happy to keep continuously pointing out that which isn't true and what's left. Okay, so there are some people that I promised beforehand that I would answer their questions. So I have Amelia. Okay. Okay, so this is for Ali via Amelia. Let me just see what time it's at in the video. 25 minutes. Okay, 25 minutes. Okay, so these questions are: how do you, Lisa, live now the sensation of being yourself? Do you feel the I in your body, or flowing through your body, or being the body? Do you feel the I in your body, or flowing through your body, or being in the body? Okay, so this is the answer to number one. I don't exactly know what you mean by do you feel the I in your body. I used to feel like I was inside the body as a separate person, and it just used to feel like an energy, and it felt like I was in here, and I became the center of all things, and I was very important, and I was constantly worrying about myself and about others, and it was everything was about me, so I became too important, which created suffering. And I believed I had choice, and I believed I had free will, and I believed it was my job to make myself happy, to do good things, to be a certain person. And then over seemingly many years, that began to chip away, and everything I began to think about myself began to crumble, and to think about the world. And there was many awakenings. And then when I was in Bali, this big shift happened, where I was sitting inside the body, looking at a world, and then slowly my sense of self got bigger and bigger and bigger, until it disappeared into all things, and then there were simply all things left. It felt like it was coming out of my eyes, like I was here inside, and then it just went everywhere. And then it didn't any longer feel like something inside of here was watching. There simply just was everything, even though it was seen through the Lisa perspective. But the Lisa no longer had a center. There was only everything left. I know that's really confusing, but I know that you're coming on the Romanian retreat, so we can speak more about it then. How does Lisa live the sensation of not being a doer? Does the I feel uncomfortable with it? No, because in the Lisa world, Lisa appears as if she has choices. So Lisa appears as if she has free will. So Lisa appears like she picks cups of tea, but Lisa isn't the experiencer anymore. She is simply an experience. And because that energy's gone off of her, like the energy no longer thinks that's who I am and is claiming it inside the body, Lisa doesn't care if she's got free will or not. It's just simply happening. And when choices appear, they appear, and when they don't appear. But she's not contemplating her navel anymore. She's not really that interested in herself. She's obviously interested in herself to an extent, but she is just a formation, a pattern appearing. And it's so uniquely beautiful. And Lisa appears as if she's got free will, but she's no longer an experience or a separate entity. It's something that's happening, like Khaleesi's happening, and like Muttley's happening, and like the light's happening, even all the choices. What happened in the body after awakening was, over the years there has been a profound change happening, which seems to have been a gradual thing. Some instantaneously changed after that big awakening or explosion or whatever you want to call it. So I don't know what I was talking about. So there were changes that happened over many years. What was I talking about? It's all just so empty. I don't mean that in a negative way. Okay, so she, yeah, Lisa changed over the years. She uh, became better at choosing. Before, choice, before when I was a person, choice was so important. And so, choice, there was too much emphasis put on choice. But since the awakening, the brain has wound down a lot. And now choice is a lot easier and a lot less intellectual. He heard being said that once awakened, you won't be there anymore to feel happy for it. He got scared, thinking the idea that the I dies with awakening. Can you explain what does that mean? You won't be there. Well, there's just absolute completion. So before the person, the sense of self is all about getting things for itself and being happy for itself. But then when there's absolute completion, being happy for yourself because of enlightenment just doesn't really occur. Like you can't really imagine yourself as somebody that's enlightened. It's only when people tell you that or you read stories about yourself on the internet. Can I just also say a lot of the stories about my waking up on the internet are really not true. People just make them up and put them on their blogs. Not that I can really remember what happened, but um so you don't really have this kind of person that's happy with awakening. There's just what's happening. It's such a weird thing that even the idea that Lisa's awakened, even though I can talk about all these things, it's just also an oddness as well, and the contradiction. But why would you even care about being happy or not happy about awakening? This seems like a pointless thing to worry about. But it's funny, all our different things, all our different quirks. Okay, thank you for your questions, Ali, and I will see you on retreat. Okay, Ramona. Okay. So this is number one. If I rest my attention at the pain in my body, will it release the pain by giving it attention? And is that one of nature's rules? That is quite, um, it does seem to be one of nature's rules. And this isn't about you awakening. Just forget about awakening with process. But yeah, this is one of, it does seem to be one of nature's rules. It's like when you learn Reiki, putting the other day I sprained my ankle when I was out walking, and I was screwed because I was really in the middle of nowhere, and uh, and so I just put all my attention on it innocently, not trying to get out of it or not for any motivation. The attention just went to it, um, and and then within 10 minutes I was up walking again. I was limping for a little bit, but then I was able to carry on, and I did another hour's walk with the dogs. And it's the same with emotions and feelings in the body. Like, just rest the attention there. Like when the kid feels a feeling, it doesn't try to avoid it, it just feels it to its max, and then it passes. The same with a dog. If Khaleesi gets scared, she does all the shaking thing, but and then it's gone. What the human does is it tries to go up to thinking and imagination to escape all emotions, and it actually perpetuates the emotion and the feeling. And then it lies, it gets into this complicated web of deceit. So if it feels jealous, it often then in its mind is telling the story how much it hates the person that it loves because it feels jealous. So it gets into all these complicated stories from years and years of keep going into imagination to escape what's feeling. So it keeps going up into this area and putting all the attention here. So often when I'm saying to people go down to their bodies, they can't. They just feel immense pressure in their head. But this part of it, so I'm not saying to you though, release your emotions or release your feelings and you'll awaken. That's not what I'm saying when I'm saying all this. And I'm not actually saying there is a separate you there that can do that, because you don't actually exist. But it feels like if I say to you, put your attention there, there can be a doing of that. So it feels like you can do it. But it's not actually you doing it. It's a functioning, just like if I say to Siri on my phone, which I do this many times, I say,
I'm not sure I understand.
"Hi Siri." What is the most expensive dog in the world?
Let me check on that.
So
okay, I found this on the web for what is the most expensive dog in the world.
So I asked him what was the most expensive dog, and then he came up with a list of websites. I got distracted by that. Far out. 970,000. Tibetan Mastiff. Far out. Wow. So like I can ask Siri questions and it appears like he can follow instructions. There isn't actually him in the phone that can do that. So I can say to you, give the attention to the feelings, even though that's not someone with free will. Don't get into the idea that that's who you are. That's an appearance, that's a functioning appearing in wakeness. The one that moves the attention down to the feelings is known. That's not the knower. But I can say it and then there will be a doing of it. And this is really, really good and beautiful and profound things to do. And then at the same time, listen to non-duality. And this isn't about you waking up. I'm not saying this is the path to waking up, because ultimately there is no path to waking up. But it's a really good thing to do to balance everything out. And then at the same time, keep listening to non-duality. And then when the energy is ready, it will swap from being someone personal to boundlessness. But so many people that I meet that are listening to non-duality, they're trying to use non-duality to heal very difficult problems that they have in their personality. And everybody, every separate self has really bizarre conditioning because they're basing their life on a lie that they exist separately. So then they go into all these really weird dreams and ideas about themselves and so many bizarre stories. And then they come to non-duality and they try to use non-duality to help with all their neurotic conditioning. And then they try to condition themselves into being nobody, which isn't going to work. This is just going to make you more dead and more confused. And really what it's about is everything coming back to life again, stopping living in this contracted small space and a total honesty. So a total dropping into what's happening. So when I cry, I just cry. I'm not in some mental story about whose fault it is or why I'm crying. I'm just crying. When I'm angry, I'm just angry. Even if it's something else and I'm going, you screwed me over, you fucker, or whatever I'm saying, there is just anger there, but it's innocent. The separate person, though, it goes and lives in its head and it believes it is someone, has free will, and all these bizarre neuro pathways start in the head, and all this bizarre way of looking at the world starts. And so putting the focus back onto the feelings is really going to balance the person out. It's going to tidy the cage, make you loads less neurotic, loads less neurotic, and make you happier and healthier, which is great, and more honest and more genuine. And then when the time is ready, there will be this shift over, rather than when I found that I was just talking about pure Advaita, I was meeting so many people that were just pretending to be nobodies, which is such a bore to be around. They're dead. And then they're always trying to justify that they're nobody, rather than living in stories about themselves. They're always living in a story about non-duality, which is not what I'm talking about at all. So I think it's great that a teacher is always shifting the way that they speak, because it really pulls the rug out from those people that are listening. And maybe some of you are attached to the old way I speak. Maybe some of you love the new way I speak, but maybe some of you are attached to the old way I speak, and so it might be hurting you. But then rather than an honesty about that, more than likely what you'll do is you'll tell a story about how I'm wrong. But why are you telling a story about stuff? You're only ever trying to tell a story about stuff and trying to justify your discomfort in order to escape things. It's not that it's actually talking about what's happening. So you're feeling uncomfortable. You're feeling like you're losing something by me changing the way I speak. And then you start telling the story about how I'm wrong, or how I've had people saying that I'm falling from grace or whatever it is. But really underneath that, there's fear. And so you can just move your attention to that fear and become honest about it. And it will just go through the body, rather than you could spend 2 years telling people about what a shit story I am and building up this story, what a shit teacher I am, and building up this whole story about me. You can do whole lifetimes with telling stories about people and events and things that have happened to you, and really underneath you just feel scared and out of control. And if there's just a movement of that attention onto those feelings, they will just begin to move through the body, and you won't be stuck on that identity. You'll become so much more flexible and free as a person. And then when that energy is ready to shift, that from being that person to boundlessness, it's ready to shift, and the person's become such a nicer, more balanced, happier person, which is really beautiful. But the cause of the shift is so mysterious, and you can't tell a story about it. It happens, and it's so unique to each person. The path of each person you could not possibly put into words. It is the path that presents itself. It is life. Can you repeat again the 3 dimensions? Is it like there is Ramona, and there is Ramona putting her attention inside her body, and then there is awareness of Ramona doing that? Right. Okay, so the separate self works like this. I have to tell you guys, my mind is for shit tonight. I think I'm messing up my words a lot, right? I'm not sure. But sometimes the functioning brain isn't great here. It gets my words back to front. And sometimes comes when I feel immense bliss. It's like my brain goes into slow motion. You see, I cannot even remember what Ramona asked me. It's amazing that I can even remember there's Ramona. But hopefully you'll all tell me that I'm functioning normally. It appears as if I'm normal. I'm speaking normally. Okay, and God is all... okay, so Ramona putting... Okay, So this is how the separate self works. The separate self works by dividing itself. So normally as a separate person, you have one or two voices inside your head. So you're someone, and then you're speaking to someone else that's listening to you. So you're like, oh, Lisa, look how amazing her earrings are. Wow, they're so amazing. So that's happening seemingly inside the body. But there's somebody talking, and so then there's also this divide because you feel like there's somebody listening to you. So somebody's like, so this happens in your head. Oh, wow, what amazing earrings she has. And then another voice is like, oh, actually, they look a little bit cheap. I'm not sure if I like them. I've seen other earrings. I like more of hers. So it's like you're having a conversation in your head and there's two of you. Now, most people won't want to admit this because they'll be like, she's saying I'm schizophrenic. But normally you're having a conversation with yourself in your head. So there's a divide of two. Sometimes this two becomes more. There could be 4 or 5 or 6. Depends. But you generally take positions. So one of the voices likes the earrings, the other's unsure. The other one is thinking about, should I go and have my dinner now? She's a little bit boring. Another one's thinking, is she going to speak with Alango again tonight? She speaks with him all the time. So there's all these different thoughts going on, but all of them are speaking as if they're speaking to someone. So, and this is what feels like you. And generally it feels like it's inside the head or behind the eyes. And it feels like that person is generally there, but it can move to other parts of the body, or it looks down onto other parts of the body. So it has energy in the neck, energy in the heart, energy in the stomach. And depending on these different energies, the voices will be a certain way. So if you're feeling a lot of fear and you're in your stomach, which tends to be the way if it's fear, there's a lot of energy in there, then there's fear, and this voice is like, oh, why am I so scared? Da, 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 da. But this isn't on regular most people's awareness, but this is people that have been listening to my talks. They become more aware of this. And there's not only lots of different levels and layers to you. Like there's lots of different ways in which you're a different person with different emotions, different input. And you also normally have an image, but I forget, an image in your head of yourself as well. I've forgotten about that part. So you normally also, every so often when you're thinking about yourself or when you're having those conversations in your head, you also have this vague image of yourself. Normally not looking through the eyes of yourself, but actually physically looking from outside at yourself. And this whole combination with the energies makes that feel like you and that you live inside the body. But actually, there is something that knows that. So the whole time that voice is appearing of like, wow, what amazing earrings. No, the earrings are awful. Oh, should we have dinner now? All those thoughts are appearing, but that's appearing in something. Something else knows that, which doesn't speak, which doesn't have an opinion. So that's being known, that voice, and that energy of feeling like you're inside. That all appears in knowing. No, Cass, you don't need to bark at it. You've had your walks, you had your dinner, you had a bone. So something knows that. So that's appearing in presence. And so that separate one that's behind the what eyes also feels like it has choice and free will and it can move attention. But that's not you. That's a functioning which is known. Just like the light or the rain. It's appearing in the dream. It's an experience in the dream. It's not the experiencer. The suffering comes from that energetic claim that that's who you are and you're inside the body. Actually, you're this awakeness which is everywhere. This presence which is all things, which is so beautiful. Okay, Ramona, I think that's nearly all. And God is all and shows the way to oneness in which God is not even the teacher, but there is simply no Ramona any more, only God, love. So attention equals love equals God. Not attention, but consciousness of the attention. Thanks, Ramona. Okay. Wow. I don't even know who to start with. Bill. Hey, Michelle. I think I've done everyone, so I think we can talk. I've done everyone that I agreed to do beforehand. Oh, yeah, and then Stefan, I agreed to you beforehand, but I'll just speak with Michelle first. People write and book beforehand sometimes to speak to me. They can't always do it because I forget. Hello? Oh, okay. So Stefan. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, Michelle. I just started calling Stefan. So I'll call you next, Michelle. Hey, Jessie. Hey, Andrea. Okay. So he doesn't answer, so we go back to Michelle. Hey, Michelle.
Hello. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. How are you doing?
Good.
Have we spoken before?
Yes, we have. About a year ago.
Oh, yeah?
So I have some questions.
Yeah.
So I'm having a hard time with the decisions that the mind is making.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the mind says, I'm not going to do this, but I do it anyway. So I'm trying to figure out.
Can you give examples? Like, can you give specific examples? Is this
Yeah.
like around food or something? Or
It's someone calling me that I said I would never talk to again. And so he's calling me, and I'll say, all right, I'm not going to pick up the phone, or I'm going to end this, or whatever. But I find myself picking up the phone. And I don't know why I'm doing that. But it's not just that, it's other things. Like, I have no problem with not knowing what to do if there's no motivation behind it. like I'm going to clean my room or I'm going to go shopping, and I'll just say, well, I'll just let it work itself out. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But if there's something, particularly this though, with this person calling me, it's like I swore I would never talk to him again, and I didn't want to get involved in all the mess.
So you obviously think that having him out of your life is better.
Yes, he's married. So it's been a long, 12-year relationship, and it's just been this on and off thing. And so I kind of finally see who he is. I don't know, he's just not this awesome person like I thought he once was. But besides that, yeah, I mean, the big thing is he's married.
Yeah.
And so I don't have enough courage yet to call him out on it and say, hey, why are you still talking to me? If you have a happy marriage, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
I don't have the courage yet. I have written out what I'd like to say to him, but I also, on the flip side, believe that he isn't choosing what he's doing either.
No.
So
this is great. Thanks for being so honest. It's great that we can really go into depth to something. Often people don't have the courage to be so honest about these sorts of things, because this is something that a lot of people will be able to relate to, not necessarily the marriage thing, but this kind of thing where you're wanting to get something out of your life or to change your life, and the body keeps doing the opposite. And there's so many different things in which people do that with. Like, people have obsessions sometimes if they're alcoholics, or and then they keep going back. Why do I keep repeating this same habit?
Yeah.
And it's so amazing to really see, firstly, that we actually, when it comes to things like this, to something that's, I'm not saying that yours is addictive, but it can be related to addictive behavior, what people see as addictive behavior, of not being able to stop it. That the body is on automatic. And
I have this other addiction where it's makeup right now.
Yeah.
And I can see the motivation. It's like a constant, I can go buy it and I can put it on, and it's just, okay, I'm gonna be done. It's so expensive. I'm done buying makeup, and I find myself buying more makeup.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, it's so expensive. And I've been trying to analyze what it's filling. Like, I could see what void he was filling.
Yeah.
But he doesn't fill a void. But there must be something I'm getting out of it.
Yeah.
And I think there's.
I think that the boyfriend or the lover, I think he'll also be bringing a lot of pain as well.
Oh my gosh, yeah, he's brought so much pain, but I have also contributed to it.
Yeah.
And so he's slowly getting back into it again, where I've promised myself I'm just not going to ever go there again. It's not worth it. And as I'm thinking to myself, oh, I'm so glad that I'm not talking to him anymore, he calls. And I pick it up. But I think it's almost like a challenge to see how I can be the real me now.
Yeah.
Does he accept the real me?
Yeah.
But I'm afraid I'll get sucked in again.
Yeah.
And so,
you see, all of this is what profoundly changes in awakening, and you're on the awakening process, so bits and bits are dropping away. So each day, in a way, there's less of you, or there's less identity there, and your thoughts are always changing and being broken, and the energies are being broken, which is really beautiful. But then what profoundly changes is the inability to see yourself in that timeline. And this is the real sticker, like the bit that really sticks people into things, because even though he brings you pain, there's a you that thinks it knows what he brings you, and thinks that it needs to control time in the future. So you think you know what he's going to bring, and you think it's your job to restrain from him, or you think it's your job to get involved with him and to see how much you've changed. And all of this is illusory. Like, this is such a strong sticking point, because actually you're going to respond in every moment dependent on what's coming up in that moment. And we
Right.
can look at your habits, and you can break some of your habits. So if you look at them and you put attention onto some of your fears or your habits or your way of being, there can be a change of them. But we don't really know how and why and at what point that's going to change. And we can't really see ourselves in time to be able to tell ourselves that story. So even the assumption that you aren't going to speak to him anymore is in a way telling a story too much of yourself. It's saying too much about who you are. You don't know how you're going to respond in the future.
Which is why it's so painful when I say I'm not going to talk to him, and then I find myself picking up the phone.
Yeah. And also you believe you know what the outcome's going to be, which in a way this is a natural programming, and it's helpful because it's been painful in the past. He comes with a warning. You know that this isn't a great situation, but you don't know what you're going to be in the next moment. You don't know how you're going to respond. You just know the responses which are happening now. And yes, and they can be examined, and through that examination there can be a change of that pattern. And I could even talk to you about that pattern because it's a really fascinating pattern, the love addictions and what love does to us. But you don't know what he's going to bring. You don't know what part he's played in your life. He might have been the most amazing awakening teacher for you. Like, you never know what that part is. You know in every moment the sensations, and when he calls, there's a sensation to speak to him again. And now I sometimes feel like I'm living a bit like an idiot. I know that sounds like terrible, but it's actually really beautiful. I don't have much to go on in time. There's actually a deep trust of what's actually happening now and the responses now. It's not my trust, but it's there when you stop trying to find yourself in time. So there's a trust of those responses that come in the moment. So, sometimes I decide to say give up tea, but I don't. I don't often decide to give up tea. I really love tea, but sometimes I decide to give up tea because I do get a bit of acid reflux. Sometimes too much tea is not good for you. And so there is a thought, okay, I won't have tea today. Then the body does something else, and then I have tea. But I don't really see myself in a timeline. So when it breaks that, and when it drinks the tea, that's what it does. And there's not really much energy that goes into any story about that. Because I don't see myself as time. I don't see my happiness dependent on giving up tea. I see my happiness totally as this moment, as what's actually appearing in this moment. And still there's an addiction to go into time with him and to have a love affair in time with him. Do you understand what I mean by that? By having a love affair in time?
Well, it's you're imagining.
Yeah. So
what the outcome will be.
Yeah, not just that. Also, your pleasure that you're getting from him and the enjoyment that you're getting from him is a lot to, and the pain that you're getting from him is a lot time bound. So actually, when you speak to him on the phone, he's not anything. He's not your past story. He's not even really married. It's not that he's created all this pain to you. He is simply a sound appearing in awakeness. And I don't mean to make this cold or dead. This is really beautiful, because in the collapsing of yourself, his voice is everything. His voice is the lover. His voice is it all. And that's really as far as it goes, is there is a response happening to the voice. And it could be a response of, hey, how are you? And it could be a speaking in time. But energetically, that's all that's really happening. But you still have an addiction to him in time.
Which is really hard to not think of history when I talk to him.
It's not so much thinking about history, because he could bring up history and there could be a talking about it. It's the energy which is meeting him in a timeline, because you still believe that he can give you something in time and he can take away something from you in time. That he's in relationship with you. And it's not that you totally believe that, there's still an energy there. So the reason that you make up the decision to not speak to him in time is because you're trying to protect yourself in time.
Right.
And really, the freedom is always in the moment. It's not about speaking to him or not speaking to him, or having an affair with him or not having an affair with him. It's what's actually happening. And more than likely, from our conversation and intuition, I get the sense that when that's really heard, he will drop away anyway. Because I get the sense that, I'm sorry to be so forward about it, but I get the sense that maybe your pull towards him is always the belief of getting in the future. I know that sounds weird.
All of our conversations were going to be, someday we'll be together, you're my soulmate, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and you're as a separate person, your love for that game is the anticipation. It's like, because when you anticipate it, he can never let you down. Like it's because in anticipating, you're getting a sense of the completion. You're imagining this perfect time that you're going to be together. And in that, there's a tiny bit of total completion. You taste freedom because the lover is the biggest representation of wholeness. So when he's presented like that, rather than living with someone in the day-to-day of him, you've got this idea of something that's going to complete you, and in that you have a taste of that completion, that love, that wholeness.
But what if I don't want it anymore from him? Like, I don't think that anymore.
You might not think it, but I suspect there's still that old energy in the body somewhere that's still drawn to it. There's still some part that's drawn to that, but I'm sure that there's such a strong seeing now that really love relationships are pain and pleasure, they're beautiful, but they're not going to complete you in any way.
Right.
They never can complete you. Your completion is always this moment.
And that's what I've been working on without having him in my life, is I've gone through all these phases.
Yeah.
And after him, I went through a phase where I didn't want anybody. And then there was a phase okay, I'm ready now. Where is everybody? And then every time I went somewhere, there was always, well, is that person going to be it? Is that person going to be it? But that thought just happened, even though, so that would be this double whammy where I'm not going to be looking for someone, but I really am.
Yeah.
But that finally went away, where I'm actually really happy with myself.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah.
Laughing at myself, and I'm really okay with being alone. Just when I travel, I wish that I could be with someone just for the safety or whatever. So I was really getting into myself, and then he appeared again.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm afraid too.
Yeah. But I think it's beautiful that he appears again, because he's challenging that part of you again. So if there is any seeds left, it's something that will bring it out. Like those seeds left to, I get the sense that what you're drawn to is more the imagining of it than actually having it. That tends to be a lot of what most people are drawn to, but especially when there's somebody that's taken. Like, like it tends to be. So what you can do is you could spend time imagining having him 100% as well, like playing with all these different imaginations, like just playing with all of them and seeing what comes up, like the different feelings with it.
Well, what's funny is I met him almost a year ago, finally spent 2 days with him, and it was not at all like what I had expected.
See, this is the most beautiful thing. So all those feelings that you had for him were obviously in yourself.
Yes.
That love that you wish for from him was obviously your own nature coming forward. It's just that you were using his image in order to evoke that. Because nobody gave you those feelings that you imagined of having him, those high love feelings, that feeling of being so intimate. You didn't actually get it from him. It was there the whole time. It's just his image activated it.
Right.
It's really beautiful. But it's such a trickery, because it's so strong to imagine it's out there. But you felt that feeling of the completion. He didn't give you that feeling. It was your own feeling. And it was your own imagining as well. And when I say your own, I don't really mean the person, although you could say it's the person in one way, but really who you truly are is that awakeness. And when you imagine having someone, and when you imagine that completion in that period, you drop away, and that's why that love comes forward, because your nature is total and utter completion. There is your nature needs nothing, but it plays on the surface level this game of feeling that it's incomplete and it always needs things. But when you imagine the lover coming, then often that game drops and you taste that freedom. So it's really beautiful, like that, like you spent so much time apart from him. It was obvious that it was your own feeling. It wasn't something of his. It wasn't something that was unique to him. But the mind is so trained. You've had many generations of information passed on to this body, which is information, saying it is out there, it is out there, it's always out there. And then you've got the whole woman conditioning that it thinks and believes, and it's only since the last 50 years, really, where it's beginning to stop being that you have to have a man.
And I know everything is all thought. I know everything is all thought, but it's so hard to forget that. It's not hard. It's easy to forget it and get so caught up in the beliefs at the time. Yeah. But I know that I can be with someone and have the best sex, but I know it's all in my head. It's not really anything they're doing.
No. Another way you can tell that is, given a different mood, you won't have the best sex. Like it's really not dependent on them. It's dependent on
True.
you.
Get away from me.
Yeah. They're doing exactly the same. You're like, ah!
Yeah. So you're saying, instead of me worrying about how I'm going to handle talking to him, just kind of be more in the moment of what am I doing? Well, I see myself picking up the phone, or I see myself not picking up the phone.
And examine the emotions and feelings. It's a disaster to try to live by an idea. Never. Yeah. I mean, it's good to examine these things, and it's good to examine the pull towards him, but to say I'm not going to speak to him, or to say I'm never going to drink again, it's like setting yourself up to shoot yourself in the head.
Yeah, because before I would say, well, there's no one there, like the non-dual, where that just didn't work either.
Nothing works. The only thing that works is this moment. This is all we ever have, and we don't know what this moment's going to be. And when you feel separate, and when you feel suffering or anything, just examine it. Examine what's happening now. Not rather than, you can examine the feelings and the ideas that have seem to be bound to the past, but always the exploration here, rather than setting up guidelines for yourself in time.
It's easier to examine my emotions when I'm by myself, rather than speaking to someone and then examining those emotions.
Yeah, no, that is hard, because your attention is in speaking with them. But if you can just take a moment, you can look down, or after the phone call, you can just have a look to see what's happening in the body.
I have another question. I wrote it down.
Yeah.
Okay. So you know how you're saying that if you were to tell me what to do, it would be just like talking to a computer to do something, and I would more than likely do that.
Yeah.
How come the computer can't always tell the computer what to do? Like I can't always tell myself what I'm going to do, for instance, pick the phone.
But it's the same with me. Like, I can say to you now, stand up, and you may or may not stand up. More than likely you won't stand up now, but I could say to you, okay, so go and examine the emotions, and the most probably will be a doing of that. But you can't guarantee it. It's not like a fixed thing. These are like evolving machines. They're always changing and updating, and some stuff it takes in, some stuff it doesn't. It rejects. So based on the information that it seemingly got from the past, it will reject some stuff and do some stuff, and we have such a strong assumption that we choose, and that we have the ability to choose. But who produces those thoughts of choosing? So there is a thought that comes up and says, no, don't speak to him, and then there's a thought that comes up and says, just speak to him. But who's choosing those two very thoughts? Where do they come from?
Right.
You can't get into the typewriter below and type in what you're going to think or what you're going to choose. These thoughts can come.
So a thought can't choose.
No, it's just a thought. It can't. Of course it can't. Neither can this word. This word that I'm saying can't even make you
Right.
do anything. They are sounds. Their job is to be a sound.
Right. So if the thought is saying, don't pick up the phone, how can the thought have control over a thought?
Yes. Yes.
There's like nothing there. I
The
don't
machine can
know
take in new information and develop and evolve from that. So the brain can take in new information and evolve from that. So it can evolve its thinking patterns. But a thought can't choose. So you can't say to yourself now, okay, in 10 minutes I'm going to get up and do this. Maybe that will happen. There's a good chance if you've done it many times before it will happen again. But you can't rely on that 100% because there isn't a you in there that's a separate chooser. There are thoughts that are appearing that update the machine, but the appearance of you isn't writing the script. The thoughts are the script.
It almost seems like I felt better when I thought I had more control.
Yeah.
Like when it just seems like I could say, okay, tomorrow I'm going to get up and I'm going to get this, and this done. And
this will give you more pleasure though, but the deconstruction of it often feels uncomfortable. It gives you more pleasure to do because that's how you've been taught your whole life,
right,
to do and be all these things. And so therefore it gives you more pleasure, which will make you feel more high. You'll get more relief of endorphins. But when there's the reconditioning happen, it doesn't feel so good because you're not getting your new normal hits.
right, because it feels great to accomplish things.
Yeah, but only because we've been trained like that as humans.
Right.
Which is quite sad that a whole childhood at school was mostly about achievement.
Yes, and it's really hard. I have a hard time talking to my son about not talking about achieving things, but yet I still want him to. So.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with achievement, and the human always comes with the appearance of choice, so it appears as if you can choose in that you look and you like tea or coffee, and the feeling is that you pick the tea, but it's not your choice ultimately. It comes from a boundless presence that isn't conscious.
There's so many layers. Like there's.
Yeah, and in your son's world, if he feels like a personal doer and if he's not interested in this subject, then the best thing for him to do is to fit in with society and do things like that. Like if otherwise, he will be left out of society.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's got to be a person if that's how he feels he is.
Right. Okay, let's see if there's anything else. Yeah, that was about it. I'm going to be seeing you in Spain, by the way.
Oh, nice! You're coming to Spain?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. Whereabouts in America are you?
I'm in Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh, okay, so it's the closer side to Europe.
Yeah.
Nashville's on the East Coast, isn't it?
I'm really bad with geography. Too bad. That and math. No, math is really bad. Math and I don't get along.
Me neither.
And geography is second. I'm getting better.
I'm only good at geography because I spend so much time in the airplane. And you see those maps in the airplane? They have the moving map. Because I'm always like, oh, we're nearly there. Oh, no. But then we've got the whole world laid out.
That's how I'll learn. I'll travel.
Nice. Oh, well, lovely to speak to you. And you can watch this back because there was a lot in those answers.
Yes, I know. I will watch it back tonight.
Nice. Thanks very much.
Thank you for speaking to me.
With pleasure.
Okay. Bye.
Okay, guys, we're back again. So always refresh if the screen goes blank. Refresh sorts out a lot of things. Oh yeah, it wasn't stuck for you guys, it was just stuck for me. Hi, Loren. Hi, Harrison. Hi, Diego. I don't understand your question, Diego. So there isn't anything. What I mean by that is that all concepts, everything I thought what I was, and the world I live in, including achievements or failings, are a house of cards. Of course. But it's all a waking up story, so seemingly in your story, all of those things have been signposts pointing to home. Everything is reflecting back that this is it, is home. But it's not you. Concepts and thoughts and ideas isn't you. That's where you got lost in. You got lost in a world of words and what you thought you knew. You got lost in time. So time appears in this. This is the freedom. The presence is everything. And you got lost in time looking for answers in yourself in that timeline. And it's like you're hiding in time. And the answer is the timeline. That is the timeless. Hi, Vladimir. Hey, Kevin. Hi, Anla. So, oh my goodness, how do we say this name? Alejandro. Alejandro. So, Alejandro. Okay. The question is, how do I know when the experience you are having are real or constructed by thinking? The only thing that's real is presence. Everything else comes and goes. Everything else is a house of mirrors. And presence isn't a concept. And you don't get to know that because you is a concept that appears in presence. But all there is presence. So as there stops being such an addiction to concepts and ideas and you, then this presence becomes more and more apparent. And the presence is self-knowing. It was never hiding. It's just the attention was on that person. So as that person strips away, then the presence bursts forward. Even though it was always bursting forward, it felt like it was contained and caged behind. And that light always knew itself. It was just seemingly lost in the concept of you. So everything, every thought, every feeling, every sensation, every idea, all of it comes and goes, and so therefore isn't it. What is it is the knowing, is the consciousness, is that presence, that aliveness, which cannot be felt but yet is always here. Is so profound. And that's waking up to itself again. Even though it was always awake, it felt like it was bound inside a cage of you and time. And it felt like you were alive and you existed in time, where really you are coming and going in stillness, in presence. And that you is so busy looking for its freedom in itself and in its world and in its story, but really it's right here. That awakeness is here. It's not about you and how to wake up. It's the deconstruction of everything you think you know. Oh, you're Spanish. Okay, I think I did a good job on your name then. Alejandro, although that sounds a little Italian. I can feel personality, I can feel personally the knowing of what you are saying, and sometimes, for very few, I've seen at people and felt they were me, but I haven't opened my eyes yet beyond that. So how can I know what is beyond my understanding? Hmm? How can you know what's beyond your understanding? Who is this person that believes it's in relationship with its understanding? Who is this person? You are this person, and you have understanding. Who is it that's had all these experiences of awakening? This person? Who's in relationship with your understanding? Surely that's a divided world and not what we're talking about. What else is there which isn't divided? The knowing of both of those people. Those both appear in presence. This is not an experience. The you that's divided has experiences and will always live in a timeline and will always be bound inside the body. And it will have understanding, it will have other people to talk to, it will have relationships with the world out there. But that person appears in this boundless energy, in this knowing. And that knowing was always there. You never had to buy that knowing. You never had to encourage that knowing. You never had to look for that knowing. All of that appeared in knowing. You look for yourself inside a world of duality, and really where you'll find yourself is in what's happening, never in time. Thank you, have answered my question. I felt that for a second. Please, would you, if you can, repeat what you can say about head is with pressure? When you're very present, I feel that pressure and doesn't feel right. Thank you. So that's great that you feel the pressure in there. So that's where a lot of people feel they are, but some people feel they're more in other parts of their body, but they feel like they're behind their eyes and they're stuck in behind here, and they're in relationship with things here and with the timeline, with past and with future. But that's not actually who you are. So what you can do when you feel like you're separate and you feel like you have free will and choice, you can just lay the attention on that pressure. And notice that that pressure is appearing in awakeness, and that awakeness is not located and is everywhere. But you can just rest the attention of the person on that pressure, and that pressure will begin to move. Notice I have lots of stories. It's okay. Thanks, Alejandro. Alejandro. I should just be more confident with the names. Alejandro. Alejandro. I like that. Okay. Okay, thanks, Stacy. Ah, Ramona, you're here. Well, Ramona, I answered your questions quite a while ago. Hi, Andrea. Hi, Jessie. Jessie says, much love to you and Khaleesi. I've been watching Game of the Thrones, season 6. Oh my goodness, I don't know. I didn't know what I was naming my dog over. after. She is such an amazing character. We never see female characters like that in TV, ever, or in films. They're strong, powerful women. It's got so many dimensions to her. It's really beautiful. But I feel, from what a friend sent me, it might be that she turns out evil, the evil character, Khaleesi, and that's typical. If there's a strong, powerful woman, they always end up the evil one. It's the same with the black person in films. If there's a black person, they always end up dead. They rarely end up the hero. But with, I know I'm not allowed to talk about black issues because I'm not black. But at least with black people, not, oh God, I'm going to get killed now. I'm going to get shot for bringing up this subject. At least they at least have a bit more diversity in films. Women in films, there can be such a stuckness. Like normally if there's a strong, powerful woman like Khaleesi, she normally always ends up evil or bad. And then I was watching this thing a friend sent me, and it looks like that's the way she's going to be. She's going to be the bad one. She's so strong. It's so beautiful to see. There's such a strength there. Khaleesi! Khaleesi! Hi, Lisa. Yes, there is place. Vincent. Hang on, there were other people that asked me and I didn't call them. But now I've clicked off their thing. Oh, hang on, there's lots more. Just call Vincent. Hi, Laurie. Oh, Chandrio. The J is silent. Oh, I see. How do you guys know this? The J sounds like a H. The girl with the dragon tattoo. Yeah, that's beautiful. I have seen that. Hey, Lorraine. I'm going to just speak to Vincent because he's never spoken before. I'll write the question here. I'm heading to work. Oh, you're sweet, the doggy. 2 contacts. Okay. Hi, Lisa. I'll write the question here. I'm heading to work. It's been a few days now that amness or isness woke up to itself, and the Vincent contraction is coming and going sensation being explored. Honestly, there's no clue about what Mark is going on now, but it feels like a very natural process. Question is if you could talk about that form from your own experience of its before, because this is very new terrain to explore. It's absolutely great fun too. Thank you, Lisa. Love, love, love you. If I could speak about what? Before? Question if you could talk about that from your own experience of it before, because this is very much new. Honestly, I think this question is complicated. Right? I'm heading down this work. It's coming and going, sensation being explored. Honestly, there's no clue about the muck that's going on, but it feels very... Question, if could you speak about that from your own experience of it before? Okay, just own experience, because this is very new terrain. So I've got to speak about the muck before, the coming and going. Okay, sorry, Vincent. I struggle to read things and to interpret them. Oh, he's calling now. Hey! I just had worked out your question.
I was heading to work. I still had my headphones, and I see you responding to it. I was like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You guys are behind, but you'll find it funny if you ever watch this video back, because I just really broke your question apart and was just about to start. But that's
really?
okay. Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. I'll explain myself.
Okay.
So it's been a few days that this isness woke up to itself, and it seemed that like it was never about the Vincent contraction, and but now it's like whenever I go, for example, to work or talk with people, it's very much the Vincent contraction comes back every time, and it's felt and explored, and in this way, there's understanding about what all the anxieties and the fears were all about. But now it's, I don't know. I don't know what's going on, in a sense.
Yeah.
I mean, very peacefully. But mm, the question really is, I don't know. I really don't know what the question is, honestly. I just felt I had to speak it out, because I don't have anyone else to talk to.
Yeah.
Everyone is acting as persons, and it's always like very.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's it. I just had to speak it out because I don't want to what's going on.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah. That's beautiful that it's presented itself again. It's not hiding anymore. It's beautiful that that's known. But it's so amazing that when you come back, how lost you are again, in the sense that you can't really remember it. When you come back, you can have some sort of vague image or taste of it, but you're back in the story of separation, so you see the world through division. Even though there's a taste of it, you still see it through division. And it's when the awakening happens, also the body goes through an immense change, and this can take years. The brain changes, the physicality changes, the information in the body gets reprogrammed. You have the thumb over the camera.
Oh, wow. So.
It's okay. Yeah, it's a really confusing process to the person that comes back and goes and comes back and goes and comes back, because at one point everything is perfect and boundless and free, and then suddenly it's contracted and you're separate and you see everything in division. And the thing is it's all doing its thing, it's all doing its dance. If you as a separate person feel too stressed out about it, then my recommendation is to either listen to non-duality talks or to just rest the attention on discomfort in the body. So if you're feeling uncomfortable, if uncomfortable energies are coming up, just rest the attention there and explore them when you feel separate. And when you feel like you can do things, and then when it's not there, then it's not there. But it's all doing its thing. It's doing its dance.
It is.
And the moment is what's actually happening is the freedom, is the guide, not what you think is happening.
Yeah. But there's been a lot. Last week I was exploring. Last week was like mostly crying every night.
Yeah.
Because all the madness was coming up.
Yeah.
Like just in exploring the feelings, all the madness, and seeing how truly everyone, like every single human beings right now, I mean, like, almost, we're all like sitting on this Pandora box of like madness.
Yeah.
And we're all transacting and pretending as if everything is alright, everything is fine.
Yeah.
And after that becomes so obvious.
Yeah, humans are really insane.
Yeah.
Because they're totally lost in what they think they know. And what they think they know is based on a total and utter illusion. And they've made it all up. They're living in a fantasy world. They're so crazy. And each one is living in its own fantasy world, dependent on its genetics and its conditioning and its social environment. But yeah, they're crazy. Even I'm crazy. But I just have no energy that believes that anymore. Like, everybody is crazy. Like, every person is a crazy. Because no thoughts or ideas are true. But the person that's awakened isn't identified with any of that anymore, so the thoughts, like everything else, just naturally come and go. The thing that makes the separate person even more crazy is that they believe that their craziness is truth and real. That's scary and real. That's why people end up doing these crazy things of going into gay clubs and shooting everyone even though they were gay. Well, it seems like they were gay.
Yeah,
this is where this craziness happens, because the human believes what they think is true. This is such a scary thing, for it to believe that what you think is true when everything you think is based on an illusion, so it's not based on a right marking point in order to think, and then they believe it's true, really, really true. And what humans spend most of their time doing is getting other people to validate their madness and their craziness.
Yeah. But at the same time, you see that it's kind of an innocent mistake in a way.
Oh yeah, totally.
It's not, no one like
It's nasty.
deliberately like went mad.
No, and also even people, if they do things like go into a gay club and shoot everybody, that that there isn't really somebody guilty there. There's a pattern that's played out, and that pattern isn't separate from all other things.
Yeah. All
It's the
right.
crazy pattern of the human. But
It
yeah,
is,
what
it
a
is.
ride. It's so beautiful that it's presenting itself. That's so beautiful. And the
Yeah.
crying and the laughter, all of it is the brain
Oh
chemistry
my
and the
goodness.
body chemistry
Like,
changing. You'll get some intense energies coming up through the body as well. And if they're overwhelming, just rest the attention there. And just believe me when I say it's no big deal. It passes. Everything passes.
okay. You got it.
Yeah.
All right. I have to get to work, otherwise my boss is going to fire me.
Okay.
But thank you.
Thank you, Vincent. Bye. Love you. Bye. Poker Pro. Oh my, those ads are loud. It comes on as such a shock, the ads. It's funny. But very cheaply, you guys can now buy ad-free time. You can download something called Ad Blocker, but you can also buy ad-free time through Ustream. You never used to be able to do that. And I don't think it's that expensive. I don't get any of the money from these ads. This is all Ustream. I try to get the ads to go away, but it was just going to cost me too much. I had to pay for everybody that watched. So, but I think if you do it individually, it's cheap. But it always sucks to pay to support advertising. You could also download Ad Blocker, but I don't think it works in certain. I think it only works in Firefox. I don't know. Okay, who else have we got? We got lots. Hi, Kenneth. Hi, Maria. Lisa. That's right, we're a pair of boobies. Ha ha ha. And you done with your little joke now? Relax, Jerry. I don't get it. Booby birds. I might be reading the words wrong. Hi, Michael. Hi, Hi, Michelle. Michael. Hi, Michael. Hi, Lisa. A friend of mine just told me that he got rid of his allergies by using the practice of Dr. Buteku. Check it out. Sending love, Michael. Oh, thanks, Michael. I don't think I've really got my allergies today. But this summer, I've barely taken any medication. It's amazing. Hi, Kenneth. Hi, Kevin. No, no, no. Kevin, you must start watching from the very beginning. So if you want to speak with me. Oh, Boobies is a bird. Oh, I see. Oh, that's the booby bird. So if anyone wants to call in, just send me a message now, because I've kind of gotten a mess. There were so many people. I've clicked on things and I don't know who wanted to speak. I've forgotten. But I have a joke, just while people just send me a message again if you want to speak. I have a joke. Oh, bollocks. I'm not meant to tell you it's a joke. Oh, that screwed that up. Manuela says that she plays it on her iPad, and there's no ads on her iPads, only at the very beginning.
Hi, Lisa.
Hey, Lorraine, it's been a while.
It's been ages. Oh, thanks for calling me.
With pleasure. I think there were lots of people that I needed to call, but I'd gotten a mess on my Skype.
Oh,
if
thank
I click,
you.
if I click
Sorry,
on
I'm in
people's
bed.
name, oh no, that's okay. I can't even see. It looks like you're in a sauna with the wood.
It does, because I'm in like a wooden cabin on holiday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's just freezing cold.
Oh, it's your winter now. Oh, summer,
Yeah,
your winter.
Yeah, no, it's freezing cold.
So I heard a little bit of your updates through Lisa.
Okay,
just
great.
a little bit.
I don't have to go into too much of that.
No, just a little bit though, not much. But she just said about the housing and how it's been working.
Yeah. That side is like. Ugh.
She said it was working well.
It's working well, and it's kind of all. It's just happening. There's no even real charge in it, and when there is a charge, it just kind of comes, and then it just moves through, and it's all okay. Whatever, even the feelings that come, the pain and the anger, and that's and like, I did that to be alone, okay, because there was a feeling of just wanting to be alone and feeling so full within myself, not needing anything, and this being arrives in my life, and I fall head over heels in love.
That was so funny.
It was the last thing that was anticipated or wanted or looked for, or it just happened. And it's just really interesting to hear you speaking to that other lady, because what's like there's no, like, it's so clear that there is no separation, and that experience is just an experience happening. But yet it brings up so much stuff that I didn't even know was there, even more than the other, you know. Trying not to, you know, like, it's just, there's no understanding of it. It's just kind of pulled the world out even more out from underneath me, and not even that there was a floor underneath, because it's such a free fall. I honestly, I don't even know my ass from my elbow. What the hell?
Life is so funny. And he lives near you, or he's in South Africa?
Yeah, very, very, very near. Like down the road.
Wow, I bet that's created a lot of drama.
No, because it hasn't. It's been like.
Nobody
I'm trying
knows.
not to. Yeah. Thank God. For now. Until this. But it's just, there's just such an incredible silence in space, and this this experience has brought up so much, like just thoughts being so focused on that, and so much longing, like a longing. I've never experienced longing in my, like a longing and a pain that but yet, like to look like underneath that, is there a desire of thinking that that's going to bring any completion? But yet I don't find anything like that here. I don't know if I'm missing something. You know,
What do you
like,
long for? What is it that you're hoping? What is it that you're longing for? Or there's
it's
just
just
longing?
it's just longing, and it's a longing, like a missing of, like, when there is time together, then it's just beautiful, just really beautiful, and there's not even an expectation. It's all just so new. It's such a newness of an experience that has never even really been known before, because I've never experienced anything like this. And there was not any expectation of it bringing anything. So it was just it's so fresh almost, and such a meeting in that. And then when there's a partners, then there's just there's a missing and a longing, and just a pain. I don't understand.
And what happens when you explore that feeling?
It's just kind of just feel there's just pain, and there's just intense pain, and I don't even know what that pain is about, because it doesn't even feel there's just pain. And then what's been happening is just really being that pain. There's almost like a sweetness in that pain, like a real sweetness in it, like it's burning, and it's just. And I know this even what I'm saying is a story still, but I don't know. It feels like it's breaking so much open, and breaking so much. This just. I'm actually sweating talking about.
In your sauna. Sorry, my mum's dogs keep yawning, and it's just so awful, the smell. So she just won't stop yawning. It's like...
Do you know, I can't even actually make, I mean, I'm sorry, I never make sense when I speak to you, but I don't even know, because I can also see it's just a happening.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel, sometimes there's a feeling of, like a tightness in it, and then other times it's just a happening. It's not like there's oh, you're gone. There you are.
Yeah.
Like, now I can't find it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't find anything.
Yeah. I don't know.
I was hoping you were going to say, no, there's something that's wanting something there, and I could just make it all go away.
You want it to go away?
I don't know. It's just it's just... I don't know. It's just a lot right now, So like, it's full on.
Yeah, lots of colours.
Yeah, that's all, I guess. Just lots of colours. But it's also so beautiful.
Yeah. It is.
So beautiful.
Yeah. Now I get nothing to say.
No, that's cool. The other question I wanted to ask you is, when you talk about...
I'm sorry, it's awful. She just won't stop yawning. It's so awful. Look at her. This little dog can make such. She's 18. Oh, it's awful. She's not yawning now, but she was. It was like constant. Good girl,
Oh, shame. Look at her teeth. Like, when you speak about that which knows, the knowing of the appearances, that knowing is that is also in the story that is also in the dream? Is that right? Because sometimes it seems that there is no knowing.
Yeah, no, there
There's
isn't.
no knowing.
There isn't any knowing.
There isn't, hey?
No, there is only appearances. The knowing.
So the knowing is just another appearance.
Well, what do you mean by knowing?
I don't know. Like, it's just.
Because knowing could also be an intellectual thing, but that
No, I mean,
knowing.
that here, there's never really been a grasping of awareness. What is even meant by awareness?
Yeah.
But even that awakeness seems to have a phenomenality about it. Does that make any sense? I don't know how to put it. When you talk about, you were saying there's those two voices speaking in the head, and then that which knows that.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by the knowing.
But the thing is when there's a really collapsing into the knowing, there is no knowing left, because who is it that can even see the knowing? So if you recognize the knowing in any way, it's like so that's why I call it sometimes like an intellectual awakening, and then this energetic awakening, because the intellectual awakening often there's a clearing, in a way there's a clearing, and then there's some part in the dream that recognizes something, and that's really profound and beautiful, but that's only intellectual.
Yeah, because there's still something in it.
Yeah.
There's still something that somehow knows that.
Yeah.
Whereas I honestly can say I have an ear.
There's only appearances, and appearances are self-knowing, as in like the appearance contain all the knowing and consciousness by themselves. There's nothing separate from the appearances. There's nothing separate from the appearances, but it just layers itself out, so it makes it look like the things are separate. But there's nothing separate from the appearances. So there is only appearance happening, and the appearance is also empty, so the appearance is also not happening. But I've just latterly, it's just too much for people what I speak of, and I speak so often on the internet, and I'm getting more and more of a bigger audience. And what happens to a lot of people when they begin to hear me really going off on the extreme, which is so beautiful, and I love it, is they fall into depression.
Why? It's the most. It's
because they've never dealt with any of their shit. So then what they do is they then interpret what I'm saying is that life is hopeless, which is so incredibly sad. It's so sad.
It is so sad because it is complete
the opposite.
Freedom.
Yeah, and
it is. It's totally hopeless, but the hopelessness is the freedom. Yeah. The meaninglessness is that it's like.
But you say to someone that is extremely depressed and suffering a lot, and this rarely has good consequences.
Well, it's fucked up my life, but it's been for the best.
but at the beginning, you started off with the whole knowing stuff, like most people do.
No, it never made any sense. I can't. It's never been. I've tried very hard.
Yeah. But you most probably started off with some self-help.
Yeah, lots and lots.
Because some people they've separated, and they've got into such a negative game from that separation. Like it's not anybody's fault, but the separation in itself is neurotic, and then they've got into such a neurotic game from that.
Okay, so then that's talking about the knowing is almost like filtering out, so that it's like.
You see, what I'm basically doing is I'm feeding people that can't cope with the extreme stuff, and I'm feeding them. I know I'm feeding them as a person, but
yeah, it makes it.
I'm feeding them.
But it's like some teachers would say it's almost like moving from person to presence.
Yeah, I'm feeding them basically. So until there is a point where their personality is evened out enough to be able to talk about this, because people really come with so much stuff. And it's not like in the olden days when you spoke non-duality, people came on retreats and you spoke with them one-on-one and you met them. I'm speaking broadly to everyone twice a week on the internet. It's not like it used to be. And I got to the place where it's like I realized I had to feed people in a way. So I just keep, when I'm speaking, it seems like what's happening is that I'm trying to say it from different places at the same time. So I'm saying
really
and
beautiful.
name,
It's
and then
all
I'm
really
going,
beautiful.
and then I go out quickly as well. But then I go back in. I just have to feed the person a bit.
Yeah. And it's also beautiful. It all has its place.
Yeah. And it's
just
also beautiful when the person heals and you see that person heal and change. That's also got a beautiful quality to it. But I still love the, like ultimately there is no knowing, there is no consciousness, there is only what's happening.
And that is like, there's no, how could you even speak of that?
Yeah.
It's just, it's exquisite.
Yeah.
It's exquisite, but for nothing.
Yeah.
And for no one.
Yeah.
Like but that's why it's like, what the hell is going on? What the hell is going on? Jeez, like, it's like, just life is just completely, I can't even say it's immediate.
Yeah.
Because that's not even the right, it's just full on.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe I'm just speaking this out for no reason, but it's like, then love is just love, and pain is just pain. And somehow it seems maybe, I don't know, a bit of a contrast because there's not a buffer almost.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense?
I think so.
I don't really know.
You can never really know what other people are meaning by their words, but I think so.
I don't really know. Oh, it's so beautiful.
Oh, and now she's panting. Oh God. Pain is just pain. There is no pain, Lisa. Oh God, stop the panting. Oh. Oh. Oh, Molly. Hello, Molly. Oh, oh, dear God. Oh. This is like 18 years of never brushing your teeth.
Oh my God.
Oh.
It's very funny.
So she's come right up to the camera. It's like, here it is. Oh. Matley, just turn your body around the other way. Come on. No. Oh.
So Lisa, then there's no awareness either.
No, there is no awareness. There's simply what's happening. And everyone that's been listening is going to be like, she said there was knowing. This is a con artist teacher. What's she doing?
Sorry.
No.
Good
girl,
so
Matley.
beautiful. And it can appear as anything and everything.
Yeah.
And nothing.
Yeah.
Like devastation, destruction, all of it. But then at the same time, nothing is happening.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, with pleasure. I'm not really sure what we talked about, but
I don't really know either.
something happened.
Something definitely happened, apparently. I don't really know. I'm sorry, I never make any sense when I speak.
I I'm sometimes think that I do hours of talks where I just make no sense as well. I'm like,
No, to me, you always make complete sense.
oh really? Sometimes,
Yeah,
like, because everything is so immediate, my brain sometimes just can't even put it together. And so I'm speaking, and I'm not even sure if it's linked up with anything. I'm like,
it always seems here that it links up. Like,
today was a pretty bad one for that. Like, there was a part in the talk where I was like, but it's beautiful. It's like you're going. It's like It's like you suddenly, you know, when you wake up in those dreams and you're naked. But at the same time, it's got no negativity. I'm like, no idea what's happening, but I'm like, okay.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's what happens here. I was chatting to Lisa last night. Like, it can get quite almost physically intense, like trippy. Like, where I'll be walking but I'm not walking.
Yeah.
Or I'm driving my car, but I'm not driving my car.
Yeah.
And like physically, it's like being on. I've never even taken acid, but I can imagine it must be like it feels.
Yeah, there is a real strong quality of that because your mind isn't processing and making time the most important thing. Time is just a functioning, and so it's really like a full stop. Like this is
complete full stop. Not even full stop, and the mind is used to living in this linearity, and there is no linearity.
Yeah. And when all these energetic things are happening, I think, like, in the world of the person doing, even though there's not really a person doing, it's just like carrying on. Like, even when you're talking and you're like, no idea if anything's making sense. Like, when you're driving and everything disappears, the body will still do it.
That's what I noticed. It still carries on driving because I've got two kids screaming at the back in the car, and I'm saying, "Shut up!" But it's like completely full stop.
Yeah.
And the sensation of there's that disorientated sensation, which that's also just.
And it can bring up fear, and I know there isn't someone, but in a way, if you can hear this, it's like just carry on. Like, it's like the body might respond with a fear or something, but it's not a truthful fear. It's just because the body's reprogramming and so the body's like, and just don't give it much attention. Like, sometimes when people are awakening, they sometimes get panic attacks because of these sorts of things, because it's quite a big thing if you have a strong awakening and then like you feel like nobody's driving, and then Muttley's trying to get off the sofa now. And then you feel like nobody's driving, and then there's driving happening. It can be quite a shock. Like,
that is beautiful.
Yeah.
She's in your face.
She wants to go to poopy, I think, but Khaleesi isn't going to let her down without being. So
go for it.
No, Khaleesi. Be nice. No, Khaleesi. Come on, inside, Khaleesi. Khaleesi, come. So, yeah.
Oh man, thank you.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Nice to speak with you.
Oh, it's lovely. I'm sorry I don't make any sense. I have no clue. Really. But it's been very interesting though. My husband has gone through a huge awakening process through all of this. It's like, and so much has shifted in my daughters as well.
It's amazing. It's amazing the flow when you stop living by the intellect or what should or shouldn't be done, and then what can unfold in that flow. Like, the humans, by them believing there's someone and that they've got to control their life, is what creates all the problems. And it doesn't make sense. It's like sad. You see the boyfriend or the kids hurting, and it's sad. But if there's not a selfish act, as in acting from the self, then it's total love. And it unfolds in such mysterious ways and beautiful ways.
Because there was no personal decision; it just happened.
Yeah.
So it's life moving itself.
Yeah.
And
it's
there was
really
no
profound.
question. yeah, life moving itself. There is just woof, and then this ripple effect, which is, it's like even when I'm speaking to you, it's like attempting to speak in a linear way, something which cannot be spoken, because this is so wild, and it's so it is just this wildness of this life that's just unfolding in ways that cannot even be. It's unfathomable. It's miraculous, and even to try and express it is just. It's just. Thank you.
With pleasure.
Thank you.
Speak to you soon.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so we're just going to take one more question from Andrea, and then that's it for tonight. That's it. Okay. Hi, Lisa. As soon as Motley got down, she's taken her rightful place. The throne. Khaleesi is on the throne of the Iron Sword. I forgot what it is, but anyway. Oh, sorry. Question. Hi, Lisa. It was so intense, this emotional pain. It was so intense, this emotional pain, the last day again, and over the last months and weeks. It was getting even more, and the issues, personal and collective, are really speeding up. After the guilt issue, now anxiety and panic came, all hidden sentences and hatred came up, all stories that build up a person are blown up, but I still feel as a person. I try the best to stay with the feelings and sensations and to be honest to myself, but still I have to hope that it will pass and stop somehow. Also, I know that this is seeking energy. It seems to be an awakening process. Can you say something on that? Sure. Yeah, of course you can hope to get somewhere, Andrea. When you're really suffering, of course. That would be a really useful thought. Not useful, but like, to just do these acts of feeling the sensation without the belief that you can get somewhere is too much. So that's okay to have those thoughts that you believe they're going to stop. It's so much when there's suffering energy. I forgot what the last bit of your question was. And it seems like there's an awakening process. Ultimately, there isn't. There is simply what's happening, but it seems like you have an awakening process. And it often is the way that in that awakening, all your stories come up even stronger. But in a way, you don't want that. You want to just keep them away, and you want them to disappear because it's so painful. You're doubting yourself at the moment, like doubt comes up with it, and that's okay, but nothing is true. All these thoughts aren't true. So it's not true that in any way you're going wrong. These energies have just got to go through the body and look after the body, eat well, take vitamin and hormone replacements and all these sorts of things. If like hormone replacements, I mean if there's lots of changes in your hormones, and vitamins, like keep the body healthy. But this is what awakening is. But nothing you think, nothing you feel, nothing that comes up has truth to it. It's all passing through that presence. There is nothing which reflects you, yet everything reflects you. It's not true, whatever it's saying. It's just got to play itself out. I don't feel any to say anymore. That's all that came to be said about that, Andrea. You're not doing something wrong. That is the core issue. Just let it come and go, come and go. I know it's harder because you've got kids and you've got a family. It comes and it goes. Like a huge storm. And then it goes. Nothing has truth. And I know one of the biggest things that there is that I'm on the wrong path and I'm doing the wrong thing. Don't believe it. Don't believe it. It's passing, it's passing, it's passing. Okay, guys. Well, it was lovely to share with you all tonight. I will be doing again on Sunday. As long as that's not... I know my parents come back on Sunday, so I've got to pick them up in the airport. If you watch me regularly, you understand that I'm house sitting for my parents at the moment. But hopefully that won't be during my talk time, but just look on my website. That will always give you the information. But I'm really almost sure that there's a talk on Sunday at 5 p.m. And my parents text while I was doing the talk saying they will look after Khaleesi, so that's that then. I will be talking in India in January. And I'm sorry for those people that I missed tonight. There were loads of people writing to me, and I know there was lots I clicked and I said hello to you, but I didn't answer your question. Okay, thanks guys.